Hi everyone, so I'm Caroline Pether and I'm the leader of Sinfonia Cymru, and I'm here with Gábor Tacács-Nagy, and he's our guest conductor, and we're going to have a conversation just about various few things about our work with the orchestra and our priorities as musicians and artists. So Gábor, how have you been? We spoke very recently on the phone, I know, but have you been doing some concerts recently?
Yes. I was in Milano for 12 days and gave 10 short concerts with an orchestra with Beethoven pieces. And 3 days ago I was near Zurich in Switzerland and with another chamber orchestra doing concerts, only strings. So it was great to be on stage.
That's great. And how is it in those countries? Because at the moment here in the UK we still can't play for audiences, but are the audiences social distanced?
Yes. In Milano, in Italy, the public had to sit 2 meters from each other, 1.5 meters, pardon, and with masks, and it was in a theater, so it came only 80 people, but at one concert in an amphitheater near Milano, there were 300 people, and they were almost all of them without mask. It was outside concert, and actually it wasn't so disciplined the way how they sat with each other. It was many of them next to each other, and in Switzerland, in a church, there were 200 people, and also wasn't strict. Wasn't even masks on the people. It was almost looking totally normal. So I think it's much more advanced here, the situation, than in England.
Yeah, but that's great that you're doing concerts again. I'm quite jealous.
Yes. It is so great to feel the adrenaline, you know.
Yeah.
Now I wish I could be yes.
Well, Gábor, you're so good at cheering people up. I'm thinking of your many post-it notes that you stick on our music stands where you draw us a smiley face.
Yes.
You're always so good at making us smile. And I'm really missing that. But I think, a lot of people have found it's also been quite good during this time to see what's been hard, what's been difficult. What have you, when you were in kind of the most serious lockdown and you weren't doing any concerts, what did you miss the most about the concert experience?
What I miss the most, actually, live music making. That's it. So this kind of the communication between souls, because music making is music is the language of the soul, and this kind of magical thing when suddenly we feel the same and communicating through harmonies and notes. This excitement was missing the most for me. And what else? And traveling and the buzz around meeting people, I felt myself like in a hospital. I was missing the normal life.
I think lots of people have found different things difficult. And yeah, of course, we thrive off that interaction, don't we, when we're making music with other people?
The interaction, yes, this was missing. What was for you the most difficult?
Yeah, I think many similar things to what you've described. It's that kind of wonderful magic that happens, isn't it, when we do something, improvise something, whether it's in the sound or maybe you improvise a gesture for us.
The gesture, yes, exactly.
We react in the moment.
The colors, the timings of the music, yeah. So, of course, I was learning new pieces. I try to use my time as useful as possible, and I was try to learn new things. But it's at the table. Music is not for this, not for watching scores and writing in things. So this live action was the most missing.
Yeah, and this special thing that you love in music making and that you missed so much when we couldn't do concerts, do you think so much of that has been informed by your incredibly distinguished chamber music career with your quartet? Do you feel like a lot of the things you learned when you were in a quartet fed into your priorities as a musician and artist?
Oh, of course. And you know, I just realized one factor that I am Hungarian, and I had 3 Hungarian colleagues in the Takács Quartet, and we were never brutal, never hurted each other. We tried not, but we were totally, utterly honest with each other. So we always had a mirror to each other. And with this, I think I learned a lot. We were facing our own weaknesses days by day. I was there for 17 years. I think I learned a lot. And if I am honest, I think I know much more now than those days when I was in the quartet, about music and also human characters, how to deal with each other. But it's still so much to learn, so much to progress. Actually, this keeps me young. I am not anymore 30 years old, but this kind of challenges in front of me, I like to get better and better and knowing more, and you know, this gives me energy.
It's so interesting what you say about how in the quartet you had this unbelievable honesty, and I wonder,
Unbelievable. We try to, by the way, sorry to interrupt you, but we try to tell each other, now you went through a certain limit, now it's hurting what you're saying. So we try to stop at this moment, you know. So we were honest, but not rapping. And maybe in England, which I love very much, it's fantastic, your culture and everything, but it's still a little bit strange for me that I have to go a little bit around. I am aware more and more that I cannot use this Hungarian directness. Am I right or not?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think it varies so much, doesn't it, culture to culture? And I think you're right, you know, English and potentially British culture as well, you do definitely find that. Do you find that also different kind of age groups of musicians have an impact on this also? Because obviously Sinfonia Cymru are we're kind of all young musicians at the start of our careers. Do you find there's a difference with those kind of orchestras and orchestras that have, you know?
Yes, I find that young musicians, I can be a little bit more direct with young musicians. Of course I am honest with my British friends, but I have to go around with sentences, with how to do it. For instance, I cannot say you are actually out of tune at the moment. I must say always, I'm a little bit worried about this intonation here. You know what I mean? But with younger generation in Britain, yes, I feel I can be a little bit more direct.
What do you enjoy most about working with younger musicians?
On the big average, I must say that the young persons, their ego is not yet killed or taken over. The openness, the wish to learn. You know what I mean? They much more absorbing, much more eagerly new informations than the older generation. And also I think, and I learned it from György Kurták, who was my chamber music teacher, the great composer Kurták, who was saying, Gábor, when you are on the stage or you're playing music, please keep the child in you, because the child is much more honest than an adult, because we were crying or laughing within seconds of each other. The expressions are so direct and honest and intensive. In music making must be so intensive, these kind of things, that only a child can do these kind of things. And I think young musicians are much nearer to childhood. That's why they have much more freshness, openness in them. But again, I'm repeating, I'm not generalizing. So it's of course it's happening with the older generation, this freshness and directness. Like I am also, will be happy when with an orchestra situation, somebody from the orchestra telling me something, even a little kind of criticism about my activity, which from I can learn or I can progress. You know what I mean? I'm
of course.
always open for many things. For instance, Caro, with you, I'm also musically plus humanly. I am always learning things. You sometimes I can feel that you are wiser than me.
Oh, Gábor.
No, I'm not just saying sugary things to please you. I'm always telling Leslie this. Again, Caro was saying this or this, and again I learned how to deal better with people. You are a great psychiatrist also.
So when you're in an environment where you trust people, you know, whether it's your colleagues or, you know, whether it's me trusting you, the conductor, I think that's a really great environment for that sort of learning, really learning across all of the different roles in the orchestra. And it's one of the things I really love about Sinfonia Cymru, because I think everybody's really open-hearted to learning from whether they're learning from you, whether you're coming in to conduct a project, or whether it's learning from an artist that's coming in from a completely different genre. You know, everybody's always looking to learn.
Love it. I love this. I love this with this ensemble, but I have to say, I see our life is a voyage, a traveling through experiences and we non-stop learning. I think the learning process will never end. But of course I love with them, everybody is open and nobody takes it personally.
But that's great, isn't it? Because Gábor, you clearly value learning so much, and you still feel you have a lot to learn. So therefore, that culture is kind of infused with the musicians when you're working with us. We get that sense, and so it encourages everybody to join you on that journey of always looking to learn. So you know, we always really enjoy working with you.
Thank you. It's likewise me with you. Now, if I could do it, I would every year so many times working with Sinfonia Cymru, because I'm always living the projects as a younger person. I feel myself 30 years younger.
And I really felt that, Gábor, you know, when we did Jupiter together. I mean, it's such what an amazing symphony. I know it's one of your favourites as well.
Yes.
You know, and such a wonderful opening. And it kind of, the music sort of mirrors so beautifully a lot of the things that you're talking about, you know, this kind of open-heartedness.
Yes.
And it really felt like when we were performing that, particularly that symphony together, that it was just that we were kind of all in that place together, that very magical place, and really sort of sending out our experiences and the way that we connect musically to the audience. I thought, particularly in that project, it was really wonderful.
Oh, it was. I never forget these projects, and also the others are never forget. It's really, that's why I chosen to be musician, to get these kind of experiences.
So Gábor, I've been thinking a lot recently, particularly about musicians who have just finished music college, or musicians who graduated maybe 1 or 2 years ago. You know, these people who are on the cusp of starting their careers, and I've just been thinking about them a lot recently and thinking how difficult this time is, particularly for them. And I really, you know, when I was thinking about these questions for you, I was wondering, you know, Gábor, if you could put yourself back into your kind of 21 or 22-year-old self, and you're fresh out of conservatoire, if you had financial burdens, if they were taken away from you, what do you think you would use this time for? You know, suddenly we've got all this time and space. You know, how would you want to use that time to nurture your creative spirit?
The answer could be a little bit long, but I try to make it not very long. Again, I am not generalizing, but I realized that today's young generation is overwhelmingly concentrating on the materialistic, so-called technical surface of music making. And what I would like to say is, go back to somehow change your approach to how you see music, and always start when you're practicing from the musical side. The technique is nothing else than the chemin, the way how to get to your musical goals. So never organize anything in your playing without knowing what is your musical goal. All the great artists, and also you, Caro, all the brilliant ones who playing really, whose playing goes to the heart immediately, is always approaching music making from the spiritual side. And the technique is nothing else for them or for you. The technical side is only how to get it alive, the musical idea.
That's
Can
great,
you understand
Gabor.
me? So,
Yeah.
so somewhere change the approach. Also try to do sports, youngsters. Once you do this, to change an approach in your work, you need a very, very good healthy body and mind. And try to also read about musicians' life. Because I realized that many young musicians did not have time in the running after many jobs and things. They do not have time to read about who were the composers, what kind of personality they had. Because it's totally unbelievably important to know who was Beethoven, Schumann, Bartók, Rachmaninoff, what kind of cultural environment they grew up. What was their life, read about their letters. So this time, sport, reading, and approach differently music making.
That's such fantastic advice, Gabor. And it's reminding me actually of the many WhatsApps you sent me over this time, trying to cheer me up and inspire me too. You know, I loved that Chrysler, the video on YouTube for Chrysler's birthday
exactly.
that you sent me. Absolutely amazing. All these incredible players wishing this violin great a happy birthday, and then him talking about his life. We learn so much just hearing these maestros talk.
Exactly. And you know what I found, for instance, Maria Callas, the legendary singer, on the internet I found Maria Callas masterclasses from the Juilliard School, 1971. Fantastic what she's saying about making music during singing. So for instance, I learned so much. Probably youngsters should look for old masters' masterclasses. You know, Arthur Rubinstein, Nathan Milstein, or you can find many things. We can find so much from older generation. For instance, Maria Callas saying, when you start to sing a phrase, you must already feel the end of the phrase, and this will give you the right energy to sing. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, such good advice.
As much possible, we can learn so much from this because we have more time now. And don't give up, don't get negative, somehow cheer you up. I don't know how it's difficult this, but not giving up the positive approach. Life will go back to normality, and yes, and it's possible. See the future bright way. What can I say? This is the only way.
Yeah, that's so true. And you know, entering into this creative spirit of learning from great players of the past, great musicians of the past, that I think does cheer a lot of people up. It's what makes us realise what we're doing is worthwhile. You know, telling stories to people musically brings people joy, and so we just have to hold on to that, don't we?
Exactly. This is what I meant now with my sentences. One of my most precious memories in my musical life is my times with the Sinfonia Cymru, and I'm sure and I am very hopeful that in the future I will do many projects with Sinfonia Cymru, because they are brilliant, an excellent orchestra with fantastic creative energy.